1. Introduction. My name is Linda. I was 23 years old and I needed a job, a good job. I saw an advertisement online. It said a man needed a nanny for his 2 young children. The house was in the richest part of the city. I decided to apply and went for the interview. When I arrived, the house was very big. It looked like a grand palace. The front door was heavy and made of dark wood. A tall man opened it. He had dark hair and his eyes were very sad and tired. His face showed no happiness. "You are here for the nanny position?" he asked. His voice was deep and quiet. "Yes, sir, my name is Linda," I replied. "I am Stefan," he said simply. He did not smile. Stefan showed me around the large house. It was beautiful with expensive furniture, but it felt very cold and empty. There were many pictures on the walls. All of them showed a beautiful woman with blonde hair. She was never smiling. She looked like a sad queen. Then I met the children. They were twins, a boy and a girl, 5 years old. Their names were Leo and Mia. They were very quiet. They hid shyly behind their father's legs. They looked at me with big, curious eyes. They did not speak. Stefan looked down at them. "This is Linda. She will be your new nanny," he told them. The children still did not say anything. The whole house was very quiet. I could feel a great sadness in that big, beautiful house. Stefan then explained that the children's mother had passed away 1 year ago. This made the heavy sadness in the house very clear. I understood that this job was not only about playing games with children. It was about bringing some happiness and light into this dark place. I also needed the money for myself. So, despite the sadness, I accepted the job. I told Stefan I would work for him. 2. A new job, my new life as a nanny began. I lived in a comfortable, small room inside the very large house. It was a quiet place, but it was mine. Each day, my work started early. I would go to Leo and Mia's room to wake them up gently. Then, I helped them get ready for the day. We always ate breakfast together in the big kitchen. After breakfast, we spent our mornings playing. Sometimes we played games in their playroom with many toys. Other times we went outside to the large garden. The garden had many green trees and soft grass. In the afternoons, after lunch, I read stories to them. These were quiet times. They would listen carefully before their afternoon nap. At the start, Leo and Mia were very, very quiet. They did not speak many words, and they rarely smiled. Laughter was something I almost never heard from them. It was clear they missed their mother very much. Stefan had told me that she passed away 1 year before in a car accident. He did not talk about it often, and he did not share his feelings. Stefan himself was often busy. He spent most of his time working in his office, which was a big room full of books. Sometimes he left the house for business trips that lasted a few days. When he was at home, he was a quiet figure. He moved through the house like a shadow, almost like a ghost. He ate alone and did not talk much. But slowly, day by day, I saw a small change in the children. I tried different things to make them happy. At breakfast, I would make funny faces or pretend to be a silly monster, and Mia would give me a small smile. One day, we were playing with building blocks. I started to build a very tall, big castle. Leo, who was usually so serious, suddenly let out a small laugh. It was a wonderful sound. We began to have our own small secrets, like hiding a special toy. We also shared little jokes that only the three of us understood. It was a slow process, but the house felt less cold. A little warmth started to fill the large rooms. One evening, after dinner, I was sitting on the floor in the children's playroom. Leo and Mia were with me. We were drawing a very big picture together. It was a fantasy world with tall castles, brave knights, and friendly dragons. We were all laughing loudly as we drew. I was so happy to hear their joyful sounds. I did not see Stefan at first. He was standing quietly in the doorway of the room. He was just watching us. When I finally looked up, I saw him there. His face looked different. The deep sadness in his eyes was still present, but there was also something new. It was a soft, kind, and gentle look. He seemed surprised by our happiness. He spoke very softly, his voice quiet. "They have not laughed like that in a very, very long time," he said. My heart suddenly started to beat a little faster in my chest. This was the first time Stefan had spoken to me about something personal. He usually only talked about my work or the children's schedule. This small moment was different. It felt very important, like a new door was opening between us. 3. A difficult visitor. One Saturday, a woman came to the house. She was very elegant. Her clothes were expensive. She looked like the woman in the pictures on the walls, Isabella. She was older than Isabella, and she had a hard look on her face. "I am Clara," she said. "I was Isabella's sister." Isabella was the name of Stefan's late wife. This was the first time I met her. Clara did not like me. I could see it clearly in her eyes. She watched everything I did in the house. She often corrected me. For example, she told me how to cut the sandwiches for Leo and Mia. She said I was too friendly with the children. "They need rules and strong limits, not just games and fun," she said. Her voice was sharp and cold. Later that day, Clara found me alone in the kitchen. I was cleaning after lunch. She looked at me with cold, judging eyes. "You think you can just walk in here and take my sister's place?" she asked. Her voice was loud and full of anger. "No, of course not. I am just the nanny," I said quickly. My hands were shaking a little as I held the cloth. I felt very nervous under her gaze. She laughed. It was a cold, unpleasant laugh. It sounded ugly in the quiet kitchen. "Let me tell you a secret, little nanny." She moved closer to me, her eyes fixed on mine. This perfect family you think you see here, it was not real. It was a lie from the start. Stefan was never happy with my sister. He was a very cold man. He only cared about his work and his business trips. Isabella was very lonely in this big, empty house. I was completely shocked by her words. I did not know what to say or how to react. Her words were surprising and difficult to hear. They painted a very different picture of Stefan and his past. "So don't think you can make him happy," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper but still sharp. Her eyes were like ice. "He cannot love. He is not capable of it. Remember that, Linda." She turned and left the kitchen quickly after she finished speaking. I stood there alone, holding the cloth, my mind spinning with her harsh words. The sad, quiet man I worked for now seemed like a complete mystery. I started to question everything I thought I knew about him and about this family. Was he just sad because his wife had died, as I had believed? Or was he truly a man with a cold heart, unable to feel love, as Clara had said? This new idea made me feel very unsure about my job and about Stefan. I looked around the large, quiet kitchen. The house felt different now, heavy with Clara's words. I wondered if I had made a mistake taking this job. My thoughts went around and around in my head, making me feel confused and worried. A new feeling. Clara's words stayed in my mind. I started to watch Stefan in a new way. I saw him with Leo and Mia. When he thought no one was watching, his eyes were full of deep love for his children. But there was also a deep pain. It was like he did not know how to show his feelings. This made me wonder if Clara was right. Was he unable to love or just very sad? I wanted to understand him. The air in the big house felt heavy when Clara visited. She came often. She always made small, unkind comments to me. She tried to make me feel unimportant. She would talk about my job. I tried to ignore her, but her words always hurt. I knew she wanted me to leave. One afternoon, Clara was in the living room with us. Leo and Mia were playing. I was helping them. Clara looked at me and said, "The children need a real mother figure, Stefan, not just a temporary girl who plays games." My face felt hot with shame. I looked down at the floor, wanting to disappear. Then Stefan spoke. His voice was calm but very firm. "Linda is very good to my children, Clara," he said. "She makes them happy, that is enough." He defended me. My head went up. I looked at him, surprised. Our eyes met. It was more than a boss talking to his nanny. I saw a spark, like a small fire in his eyes. My heart beat faster. I felt nervous and excited. This was a new feeling. A few days later, I was in the big library. I was putting an old book back on a high shelf. I stood on a small stool. I reached up, but the book was too high. I stretched my hand, and suddenly I lost my balance. The stool moved, and I started to fall. Two strong hands caught me. They were on my waist, holding me steady. It was Stefan. I was pressed against his chest. I could feel his heart beating fast. My own heart beat just as fast. "Be careful," he whispered. His breath was warm on my neck. I quickly moved away. "Thank you," I said, my voice a whisper. We stood there, only 2 feet apart. The air between us felt electric. He was no longer just the sad boss. I was no longer just the nanny. Something big was changing between us. It felt wonderful, but also a little dangerous. 5. The first kiss. One night, a big storm started. The wind was very strong. Rain hit the windows loudly. Suddenly, the lights went out. The whole house became dark. Leo and Mia were very scared. They began to cry in their room. I quickly went to their room. I had a small flashlight. I turned it on. The children were under their blankets. I sat on the bed between them. I held them close. "It's okay," I said softly. "It's just the wind and rain, nothing to worry about. Let's tell a story." I started a silly story about a brave cat and a funny mouse. A few minutes later, the door opened slowly. Stefan stood there. He held a tall, lit candle. The candle's light was soft. It made his face look different. He looked younger and worried about his children. "Are they all right?" he asked me quietly. "They were scared, but they are better now," I answered. He came closer and sat on the edge of the bed. He watched me as I finished the story. The children listened. Slowly, their crying stopped. Soon, they were quiet. They fell asleep, still holding my hands. Their little faces looked peaceful in the dim light. Stefan and I stayed there. We were quiet for a long time. We listened to the rain outside. The candle light moved gently, making shadows dance on the walls. The room felt warm and safe, even with the storm. "You are a miracle, Linda," Stefan whispered. His voice was full of strong feelings. I looked at him. In the soft light, the deep sadness in his eyes was not there. Instead, there was a new look. It was intense and warm. I had never seen it before. He slowly moved his hand. He touched my cheek gently. His thumb moved over my skin. My whole body felt a strange warmth. It felt right. I did not move away. He leaned closer to me. My heart beat fast. His lips touched mine. It was a very soft kiss. It was not long, but it felt full of many unspoken words. It was a kiss that held all the feelings we could not say out loud. It was a secret in the dark, quiet room. When he moved back, we just looked at each other. Our eyes met. In that moment, we both knew something big had changed. We had crossed a line. And we both knew there was no way to go back to how things were before. Our lives were different now. 6. A big problem. The next morning, the house felt very different. The air was thick with our secret. Stefan and I did not talk about the kiss. We tried hard to act normal, but it was impossible. Every time our eyes met across the room, I felt the warm memory of his lips on mine. I felt a strange mix of happiness and fear, like a small, exciting storm inside my heart. We moved around each other carefully, like two people keeping a big secret. That afternoon, Clara arrived unexpectedly. She did not call first. She simply walked into the house like she owned every part of it. She found me in the living room, helping Mia with a colorful puzzle. My hands were on a red piece when she spoke. "Where is Stefan?" she asked in a sharp, cold voice. Just then, Stefan came out of his office. He saw me and gave a small, private smile. It was a gentle smile, meant only for me, but Clara saw it. Her eyes became narrow and hard. She looked from Stefan to me and back again. She could feel the change between us, like a new, unwanted smell in the air. "What is going on here?" she asked loudly, her voice low and dangerous. "What have you done to him?" Stefan started to speak, stepping forward. "Clara, please," he said, trying to stop her words, but she ignored him completely. She walked right up to me, standing very close. "I warned you, you little tramp. You think you can steal my sister's husband in her own house where she lived and died." Her words were like hard slaps across my face. Tears came quickly to my eyes. "It is not like that," I whispered, my voice very small and weak. "I see the way he looks at you," she screamed even louder. "You are a gold digger. You are taking advantage of a sad man. He is still grieving for Isabella, and you are using him." The twins, hearing the loud, angry voices, started to cry. The beautiful, quiet house was suddenly filled with ugly, broken sounds. My heart felt broken into many small pieces. Clara was right about one thing. This was Isabella's house. I did not belong here. I felt a deep shame burning in my cheeks. "I am so sorry," I said to Stefan, my voice shaking badly. "I have to go. I will pack my things now." I turned and ran up the stairs as fast as I could, the sound of Clara's angry voice following me like a dark, heavy shadow. 7. The truth. I was in my room, throwing my clothes into my bag as fast as I could. Hot tears streamed down my face. I felt so stupid. I had fallen for my boss. I had let myself dream of a life that was not mine, a life that Clara had just called a lie. My heart was broken. The door opened softly. It was Stefan. His face was pale with worry. "Don't listen to her, Linda," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "She is right," I cried, shaking my head. "I should never have let this happen. This is wrong. I am just the nanny here." "No," he said, and he walked towards me. He took my hands, stopping me from packing. His touch was warm and strong. "The only thing that is wrong is the life I was living before you came here." I looked at him, confused by his words. What did he mean? "Please sit down," he said, guiding me. We sat together on the edge of my bed. He took a deep breath. "Clara was right about one thing," he began, his eyes fixed on mine. My marriage to Isabella was not happy. It was a mistake from the start. We were two very different people who were both very lonely. We stayed together for the children. When she died, I was grieving. I grieved for my children's loss and for the dream of a family I never really had. I was living in a cold, gray world, Linda. I thought that was my life forever. There was no joy. He looked into my eyes. His were full of sincerity and a deep emotion. "Then you came," he said, his voice growing softer. "You brought color back into this house. You brought laughter, true laughter, back to Leo and Mia. You showed me what it was like to feel something again, to feel hope, to feel warmth." He held my hands tighter. The kiss was not a mistake. My only mistake was being afraid to admit what I was truly feeling. "Linda, I am falling in love with you. I have been for some time." My breath caught in my throat. I could not believe what I was hearing. My heart pounded loudly. "Don't leave," he said, his voice full of desperation and a clear plea. "Please, stay and build a real life with me, with us. A happy family together." 8. A happy family. 6 months have passed. The big house, once so quiet and sad, is very different now. It is no longer a cold place full of shadows. Today, the house is filled with warm light and the sound of laughter. Children's happy voices echo through the halls every day. This wonderful change started slowly, but now it is complete. The house truly feels like a home. Clara, Stefan's late wife's sister, does not visit anymore. There was a big argument between her and Stefan. He told her clearly that her words were not welcome in their new, happy home. Clara finally understood that her place in their lives was in the past. She accepted it, and now there is peace for everyone. My small room upstairs, where I first lived as the nanny, is a guest room now. I no longer sleep there alone. I share the big master bedroom with Stefan. Every morning I wake up next to him. He is not the sad, tired man I first met when I came for the job interview. His eyes, once full of deep sorrow, are now full of bright life and true love when he looks at me. He smiles often, and his laugh is warm and real. Leo and Mia are very happy children. They run into our room every morning. They jump onto the bed, waking us with their joyful energy. They still call me Linda, but sometimes when they are sleepy or want a special cuddle, they call me Mama Linda. Every time I hear those 2 words, my heart fills with a joy so big that I cannot describe it. It is a feeling of true belonging and deep love. We are a real family now. We eat dinner together every night at the big dining table. The food is always good, and we talk about our day and laugh. On weekends, we often go to the park to play, or we visit the zoo to see the animals. In the evenings, before bed, we tell stories. Sometimes Stefan tells them a story from his own childhood. Other times, I make up a silly story about talking animals. It is a simple, normal life. But for me, it is like a beautiful fairy tale that has come true. Tonight, the children are sleeping soundly upstairs in their beds. Stefan and I are sitting quietly outside in the peaceful garden. The air is cool and fresh. He is holding my hand gently. On my finger, there is a beautiful, simple ring. It shines softly in the dim light of the evening. It is a clear promise of our future together. "Are you happy, Linda?" he asks me, his thumb gently stroking the back of my hand. His voice is soft and full of care. I look at the big house, our home, bathed in the soft moonlight. I look at the man I love, who sits beside me, my partner in this wonderful life. I think about the two wonderful children sleeping upstairs. They are now my children, too, in every way that matters. "More than I ever dreamed possible," I say to him. My voice is full of emotion, full of gratitude. My name is Linda. I came to this house only 6 months ago as a nanny, looking for a job. Soon, I will be Stefan's wife. My journey to this moment was not easy at all. It was full of difficult moments, and secrets were revealed. But all of it, every single step, brought me right here. It brought me to my true home,